What's going on, Dolphins fans? I'm Connor from the Dolphins Dive, and in today's video, I'm going to be going over the Miami Dolphins' top needs heading into free agency in this entire offseason. Now, I'm going to be honest, the Dolphins have a lot of needs heading into this offseason, but there's some good news with that. They have a lot of needs, they have a lot of holes, but thankfully, a lot of them are not at premium positions, so getting some of these quality players aren't going to break the bank because of the positions that they play. So I'm going to start with the offensive side of the football, and arguably one of the most important positions the Dolphins need to address this offseason, and that is the backup quarterback position. Obviously, with the availability issues of quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, the Dolphins will need to address that backup quarterback spot. So I have some names in mind, and those will be in a future episode this week. I'm going to have my free agent targets video, and then I'm going to have a mock offseason where I'm debating whether I predict the Dolphins offseason or I do what I think the Dolphins should do. If you have an input on that, feel free to comment it down below. The next need for the Miami Dolphins is going to be on the offensive line, as us fans all are aware of. Both guard spots are needed. So the Dolphins need a starting level left and right guard, as well as a swing tackle, with assuming that Teron Armstead is going to retire. So if Teron Armstead doesn't retire, I wouldn't say swing tackle is that large of a need, because you would have Teron Armstead, Austin Jackson, Patrick Paul, and then Keon Smith coming back from injury. I assume you probably push maybe Austin Jackson into guard and they can go out to tackle in a pinch. So in that scenario, I wouldn't say swing tackle is that large of a need, but assuming Teron Armstead retires, the Dolphins will need to address the swing tackle position. And then last but not least, for the offense. So ultimately, like what I said, backup quarterback, two starting level guards, which you can get one in the second or third round of a draft and sign a quality one for $5 to $10 million. At the end of the day, to address those positions is not going to break the bank for the Miami Dolphins. And then the last for the offense is going to be a wide tight end. So obviously the Dolphins have Jonnu Smith, but Jonnu Smith is not necessarily attached to the formation like you want a traditional tight end who is able to pass protect as well as run block at a high level, and the Dolphins have been missing that in this offense. Obviously, Julian Hill, I think, has gotten a lot of flack from the fan base. I think he's a little better than people project. I think he's going to continue to develop. He does some impressive things as a blocker, but there's also some things where he definitely needs to clean up. I saw him be able to put like a 300-pounder on his back, though. So that's something that is definitely good, but I think the Dolphins still should look to upgrade at that position. So offense, backup QB, two guards, swing tackle, and a wide tight end. Now onto the defense, where the Dolphins are definitely loaded with some important holes. Starting with nose tackle, the Dolphins basically threw the defensive line on one-year contracts, and now all of those one-year deals are up. I hope the Dolphins bring back some of those guys like Benito Jones and Deshaun Hand, but Benito Jones was our nose tackle last year. Did a serviceable job, but he's a free agent, so the Dolphins have a need at nose tackle. Next, the Dolphins have two needs at defensive tackle. I would say they need a starting level defensive lineman as well as a rotational guy. Case in point, Calais Campbell was that starting level tackle, and then Deshaun Hand was that rotational guy. Both did very good. If Calais Campbell wants to be back, I would bring him back in a heartbeat. I just don't know if he's going to prefer a different destination or if he's going to end up retiring. And then in terms of Deshaun Hand, that's a guy I would love to see the Dolphins bring back. But until they do, that is a need on the defense. Next for the defense is going to be a starting level linebacker to pair up with Jordan Brooks. So Jordan Brooks, you can set and forget, he's a stud. They need to bring someone in next to him. I'm for bringing back Tyrell Dotson, but I would still add more competition. He flashed some good moments, Tyrell Dotson, as a Dolphin, but once again, I don't want him handed the starting job. I think he needs to compete, hopefully against a rookie. So I wouldn't hate to bring back Tyrell Dotson and then maybe get a rookie in maybe the first 4 or 5 rounds. And then the Dolphins have two needs at safety, losing both starting safeties in Jordan Poyer and Javon Holland, who both didn't have great years, but nonetheless, there is a need there. I think Javon Holland is going to get a big payday. I don't necessarily expect that to be with the Miami Dolphins. So thankfully for the Dolphins, and it's similar to what I mentioned earlier, is that safety is not a premium position. I'm looking at some of these projected numbers for some of these starting level safeties, and you can get a quality safety for $6 to $8 million, and this draft class is loaded with safety talent. So I think the Dolphins will be able to address that position. And then last but not least, and this is a slightly premium position, but thankfully we have our cornerback one locked up, but the Dolphins have a need at corner since they released Kendall Fuller, and how they go about that is going to be interesting. I just worked on my mock offseason, and trying to figure out who they're going to put in that cornerback spot is going to be interesting. There's some draft options. I don't know if the Dolphins are going to want to draft another one after Cam Smith didn't really work out, but he's still on the roster. He's still young. The Dolphins have a lot of young talent at that cornerback room. They gas up Ethan Bonner. They loved Storm Duck, even like Jason Maitre. They have some guys at that cornerback room. So I'm interested how they're going to go about it. Do they want to bring in a vet similar to Kendall Fuller, who you feel confident as your cornerback too? Or are they going to bring in a guy looking for a second contract that maybe has some flaws, but you hope he kind of improves because he's been in the league and he's developing? I'm really interested to see how they approach the cornerback position opposite Jalen Ramsey, but I would say it is a need. But they might just choose to go with a young player and let a battle between Cam Smith, Ethan Bonner, Storm Duck, Jason Maitre, and all those guys and see who rises to the top. And I mean, some good teams do that where you expect them to go out and get a guy and they feel confident with their in-house answer. But I would like to see the Dolphins address the cornerback position in this offseason. But comment your thoughts down below on the Dolphins' needs. How concerned are you about their ability to potentially fill those holes? But like I said, there's going to be a video out this week of me going over free agent targets for these needs. So keep your eyes posted. I appreciate everybody for watching. Like and subscribe to help the channel grow. And until next time, fins up.